Good afternoon, everybody. So great to hear you here today. My name is Michael. I am with the esteemed organization backtothefuturetrading.com, and I'm excited to be here with you today to talk about our flagship products, the Predictive Tachyon Warp for NinjaTrader and the Predictive Tachyon Chronos for TradingView. I am stoked to show you what we have here today. That was a little bit of energy there, and I apologize if it was a little bit too much. I have a boring PowerPoint that I use sometimes to communicate what it is we do a little bit easier, and I promise I won't spend too much time in here. No shenanigans today. And the premise of our value offering is predictive signals. We contend that markets are not random, that there is a man behind the curtain pulling knobs and levers and pushing buttons. We contend that there are patterns that are findable. We can search for them and test to see if they're there, and if they are there, if they'll repeat in the future. And that's what I intend to do with everybody here this afternoon. And at the end of the webinar today, here in about 45 minutes, we should have a big fat yes or no on whether or not this works. So the premise is pretty simple in terms of the proof and the pudding. Since Tuesday, actually 3 days ago, we have an internal memo that was published 4 days ago that had predictive times and directions for the most popular markets for Wednesday and Thursday, so that I could sit here with you and say, we have the proof and the pudding here today. The page that I was referring to, I'm going to post a link to it in your GoToWebinar chat box. And if you guys will let me know that it's there, I would appreciate it. This link is updated every week for the following markets: Wednesday and Thursday, the E-mini S&P 5-minute chart, the E-mini S&P 3-minute chart, crude futures, gold futures, crude futures, the DAX, euro currency, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the euro dollar, and the pound dollar, and the Ethereum. And so the program, in this case for NinjaTrader, is able to output the times in the future, and we're able to sort of watch and wait and see if the patterns that the software is intercepting from the recent historical data are about to recur. So for example, on this screen right now, we have a signal at 410, 640, 820, 935, 1120, 1215, and 355. The only reason these signals are here, the only reason they're there, is because historically, over the last several thousand historical bars, our algorithm, which is comprised of over 33,000 lines of code, the one that we've been using for 17 years now, we haven't been in business 17 minutes or hours or days or months, almost 2 decades. The program said, hey, there's a pattern here you should be aware of and pay attention to. Okay, if you don't believe these patterns are here, you won't look for them. If you don't believe this is possible, you'll never go out around the corner and stretch your neck over the bush to see, are they even real? And so the program for us 4 days ago said, watch out for this on the E-mini S&P Thursday with these Eastern times. Vice versa, accordingly, 525, 725, 850, 1010, 1130, 1255, and 405, as well as 305 Eastern, were all have been determined to be repetitive behavior patterns with tendencies to push prices of the E-mini S&P 5-minute chart higher. So This is really interesting. Will it have worked today or not? We know that it won't have worked 100% of the time. The only person who had a system that was 100% accurate was Bernie Madoff, and it didn't work out well for him. It did for a few years, but no system is 100% accurate. What I'll contend with is about 60 to 70% of the signals that we were waiting for actually produced a move in the direction we were expecting. Okay, that's what I contend when we go to look. One of our customers said, hey, why don't you look at the DAX? So we'll take a look at the DAX signals, Earl. I'm going to take it on faith that that's the case. If that's what you want to start out with, let's load the template and see the before and after. Got it. So the signals on the bottom of the screen were the times that we were expecting stuff to happen. Let's go back and look at that page, and we'll be able to scroll down to the 3-minute DAX chart and see these times from 3:03 to 9:06. You'll see 3:03 here and 9:06. And what starts to take place, let me see if I can circle that. The 3:03 sell signal that was down here, Earl, is the 3:03 sell signal that's up here, right? So here's a signal that was waited on for 4 days on our chart. Then we can see the next one down here. Trust me, it's 4:03, and there's 4:03. In between those two is 3:27. There's 3:27. And so when we start to get up near the US Open today, we have 8:42, 8:42, we have 9:06, we have 9:06, we have 9:33, we have 9:33, and then 9:54 and 9:54. So what seems to be happening, I never doubted you for a second, big guy. What seems to be happening is that the times we've been waiting 4 days for had relevance 4 days later. What seems to be emerging from the ether of the noise and the random cacophony of the markets is there was a plan in place beforehand. One of the markets that I've been telling you guys about now for a year and giving those times out in advance has been gold futures, but not on an intraday level. On an intraday level today in gold, these were the times that we've been waiting for that were published. And just a cursory examination of those signals on here reveals about a 60% accuracy in terms of when we were waiting for something to happen, did it actually happen or not? And so even the small, tiny moves are producing movement. 725, no. 825, no. 910, no. But then everything starts kicking into place again after the close. Those were the 5-minute signals for today. These were the 5-minute signals last night. And these were the 5-minute signals from yesterday. And if we look at the signals from yesterday, we'll see that the accuracy is, again, in that 60 to 70% window. What's really interesting to me for gold is what's happening on a daily time frame, and we've been following those points now for over a year. I warned everybody before we left for the break last time to look for a signal in gold lasting from August 18th until September 8th. I had warned everybody in these webinars about the July 7th move, the June 4th move, the May 15th move, the April 14th move, and the March 5th move, all the way back to the move in New Year's. In fact, I've been giving you the dates and directions now since September of last year. And I want your eye to glance across these times that were given in advance versus what actually took place at those signals, what you start to see is that about half of the selling signals that we were waiting for down moves to occur at turned out to be the apex of the move. And right now, here we are, September 8th, having just broken through all-time highs, and guess what? It's starting to drop down again. If I get rid of all of our little arrows here, I might as well just remove all the drawing tools. Where our value proposition kicks in is to the right-hand side of the chart. Because I gave you all these dates and directions beforehand, you see what happened after. All of a sudden, what's waiting for us over here carries a little bit of weight and a little bit of importance, because we have the times all the way through September of next year right now that don't repaint, disappear, reappear. They simply don't. And so I have an expectation on October 27th, December 4th, December 31st, February 6th, and so on, of another potential move. I'm watching for signs of that now when we get there. I have an expectation next April 3rd, April 15th, and May 8th of another potential downward move in gold. So all of these dates and times and directions that we're seeing on this chart were times and directions that I had told people about publicly in the webinars that were recorded beforehand. One of the ones that we've been following very closely is the meme stock. I call it a meme stock, which is Tesla. The daily chart works well, but you know which one works really well? The weekly chart. The weekly chart on Tesla has been what I call a TGTBT chart, too good to be true. And if you were here, I warned everybody about the August 15th signal. And I told everyone we were probably moving past the prior swing high and then back to challenge the all-time highs before or on November 21st, the week of that day. And so here we are. The prices have risen from 330.97 up to, as of today, 370, breaking this wedge pattern. And so I know now what to expect until November 21st, not because of a guru intuition, not because of some spidey sense tingle in my butt, but because of what the data tells me. When I apply these signals to other markets like the E-mini S&P, I can sort of see right here on a weekly chart where we are in the cycle and where the next signal is. It's December 26th, the week of December 26th. If you look at me between the signals between June 20th and February 28th, there is an intermediate signal that I can teach you how to find if you want in between those two. And so here we are right now. I can do this on the weekly chart for SPY and see the same things and have had an idea, if I'm an options trader, where to look for longs and shorts along the way and where to get in and where to take profit. And so whatever the market you trade, we can look anywhere from a 30-second chart up to a daily or a weekly chart and analyze. In this case, I picked the wrong market. Analyze years and years and years worth of data to find the moments in time where institutions like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank and all these fun, fantastic, non-ethical players are about to start rip-roaring away and doing the opposite of what your trading system tells you to do. Any questions about this? Any questions about this before we get started? Or go even deeper intraday? This is the chart for Bitcoin on a weekly time frame right now. The present signal is long from the week of July 25th until the second week of January. And if you were using our system, you would have known to look for longs from here to here. longs from here to here for a small loss, longs from here to here, longs from here to here, and now you're presently underwater 2,700. So 31,000, 35,000, 22,000, minus 52, minus 2,700. But we know how long the window lasts until the next signal. And we can measure to see how far the banks moved when they moved, and make no mistakes, it is the banks that are doing this. And I can get an assessment of the exertion levels, come back over and plot those now to see where are they likely to drive it to in the future. And when I do, I have an estimate now somewhere between the minimum and the maximum, which I think is a lot easier way to trade. Expecting versus reacting, we're looking at 143,000 to 166,000 on or before the second week of January. Pretty cool. But again, why would you believe me? When we come over to this chart, you'll see that we had the same times that were listed on the internal memo to ourselves. Let's go back, and just to be clear, E-mini S&P 5-minute chart, go ahead, take a screenshot or reference the link that I pasted into the GoToWebinar chat box. And now we're going to reference those times over here. So everything on the bottom of this chart is something that existed in the public domain now for 4 days. Let me say that again. Everything that is at the bottom of the screen has existed in the public domain as a prediction based on prior recurring behavior patterns since 4 days ago. A total of 8 people. Woo! Big week for us. A total of 8 people have been following and watching. Now, what happened on these times? What happened at these directions? Let's take a quick look. 305, did the market finish higher at 410? I'm going to ask what are called rhetorical questions. My best friend is infamous for it. If you've ever listened to Ron, he'll ask you questions where the answer is obvious. Did the market finish higher between 525 and 640? Did the market go higher between 725 and 820? Let's work our way left to right. We'll check the top ones too in a moment. Did the market finish higher between the 850 candle and the 935 candle? Between the 10 a.m. candle and the 1120 candle? Between the 1130 candle, the 1230 candle, the 105 candle, and the 355 candle? Yes, Captain Obvious. Yeah, I hate when people do that, but I have to do it because I'm trying to make a point. Now the flip side, 410, a pivot. 640, we finish where we start. It stops going higher. Here's the 830 econ, the overwhelming balance of sales right after that signal. It's kind of obvious. 935 was the pivot. 1120's candle was the pivot. 1230's candle was the pivot. And the 355 candle was the pivot. These times and directions have been here for 4 days. Now, why is that important? Because every other company that you work with, every other team of gurus, team of experts, algorithmic programmers, AI generated, blah, blah, black box garbage. They show you results either in real time or after the fact through various forms of sleight of hand manipulating signals, optimizing settings, making bad stuff disappear, making good stuff look better than it was. This was before. This was before. And I can go through the P&L today. I can show you where I would have gotten in and where I would have gotten out. And if we just looked at the signals in the directions of the trend, I can tell you that today just buying in the direction of the trend would have yielded 10, 30, 40 points, which is $2,000 per contract, theoretically, hypothetically, right? Not that button, Mike. This was a potential $2,000 day per contract. Wait, 40 times 50, yeah. Just trading the buy signals in the direction of the trend in the US session. What? Now, as we begin to scroll forward to the right, what's waiting for us? And this is something you don't have, that you could have, that you should have, that you probably won't buy because you don't believe it after everything I've shown you. But look, here are the times for tomorrow. Here are the times for Sunday night and Monday. They do not change. They do not update. They do not disappear. They do not reappear. I will not eat green eggs and ham. I will not eat them, Sam, I am. And as we go back in time, fun fact, it's doing the same thing over and over and over again, day after day. We're in that same pocket of accuracy, 60 to 70%. When we're waiting for a signal to occur, the move occurs. And most of you are on the wrong side. Most of you are taking the opposite position. Any questions about this so far? Any questions about this? No? Okay. When we start to look intraday at markets like Bitcoin, that's where it gets pretty interesting. I think the signals we had were for Ethereum, so we should start with that for accountability. These were the Ethereum signals that were published for last night and today. And I'm not even going to draw the crazy arrows. I'm going to take a sip of my electrolyte mix and just look for yourself and see if I had waited for that time, was there any indication it might go higher or lower aside from the time signal? We go back yesterday. Was Ethereum bought and sold at times that were available to us 4 days, 5 days, 7 days in the future? At least 6 or 7 times out of 10. And the further back we go, the more that we see there's this concert of manipulation. It's the reason why we have a 4.5 Trustpilot rating. And this doesn't just work on the smaller time frames. We can go up to the larger time frames. And now we have a bus schedule of movement in Ethereum. All you have to do is drag the chart over. The reason you should look, why should I care, is because I've been telling you these times in gold. I've been telling you these dates in Tesla. I've been telling you these times intraday on the S&P, E-mini, and NASDAQ, and DAX, and oil, and YM for 17 years. I've done this every week for 17 years, and it always does this. And every single person who could write whatever they wanted in a review that I can't ever remove or edit has given us a 4.5 out of 5. And the people who gave us 1s The last two was the guy we gave his money back to before he asked for it because he was a pain in the ass. He was a horrible new trader about to lose everything. Gave him a 1, or gave us a 1 for our troubles. So the people who gave us 1 are ridiculous. The guy before that never bought the software. He was angry because I said he couldn't afford the software and probably shouldn't be trading because he had no money. Apparently, you can leave someone a 1 star for that. So it's probably a 4.7. But I digress. The reason we care about the signals to the right is because what's been consistently happening at the left when we arrive at these times, there is a plan, there is a program. The slot machine is not random. It does not care if you pull the handle harder or softer or faster or slower. It is going to be apple, apple, orange, no matter what you do. Get on board, bet on apples. Any questions about Ethereum? We can go all the way out to a daily time frame and get a feel or a sense of what's expected next. And I ask you again, if we had paid attention to these signals, what might we have known to do or not do? The windows where the biggest moves took place. Is everybody okay so far? There's another level to this that I'd like to show you. Do you guys have access to your histogram guidebook in the handout section? Let me know if you can see this when you click on the handout section. Anybody? If you have it, I'd like you to turn with me to page 27. Page 27 of that book. For 17 years, we've started to learn that time has a language, that where the time signals occur has meaning. For example, we've learned that if you arrive at a predictive buying time, that arrives above the prior swing high, meaning the high of that signal candle is higher, whether it's that signal, the one to the left or the right, but critically the middle one, the market tends to fall in reverse. This book was created in 2016, by the way. And that happens here for Ethereum, and that happens here for Ethereum. In both instances, we have higher highs on the buy signal. Now, in the software, you can come in and activate that pattern, and it will have put a blue arrow over both of those things. It will have let you know that, hey, that's one of those signals from Michael's book. Isn't that cool? There's even more to it. When you say, well, those buy signals didn't work. Well, they kind of did. You just didn't know the word for reversal yet. So we wouldn't have bought Ethereum there. We would have shorted it. I think it's really cool. Anyway, we can look at markets like oil futures, whether we're up on a daily time frame about to populate here. And now again, pull it to the left, look to the right. This is what the program was warning us about. I've shown these signals to you for the public record. Ready? Here they are through March of the spring of next year. March 5th, January 5th, December 5th, November 6th, October 16th, October 6th, October 29th, November 17th, December 22nd, February 3rd. There they are. The same way I showed them to you last year. And look at what is happening when we arrive at them. It's kind of bananas. What am I seeing happening in oil? Ready? If you go a little deeper, the move on May took us up from 58 to 74. Let's write that down. Following the predictive signal, it went from 58 to 74. That was the first wave. The second wave, it went from 64, let's call it 69. The next wave, it went from 63 to 66. What does everybody notice is happening every time someone steps in institutionally to buy oil? What is happening? Earl? There's a decay. There's less and less institutional interest in oil as an investment. In fact, if we look at the signal here from September 9th to now, what's happening before our eyes? At the buy signal, we're underwater. We're 45 cents under. So here's something we can do if we're oil strategists, right? Let's open a business today, Earl, and analyze oil together, shall we? The farthest it's gone down before it's gone up from the close of the buy signal in this instance was here. In this instance was here before it rocketed in the other direction. If I put those over here, I now know that if it goes as low as 60.17 or 61.08, that's as far back as it's ever pulled before it shot up. But what am I waiting for that's sitting on my screen while I'm waiting for that to happen? The next signal at 9:16. Boy, it sure looks like lower highs are the order of the day, aren't they? So I can now start to watch for additional weakness as we move closer and closer to 9:16. Is everybody tracking with what I'm doing here? I'm assuming the game is rigged. I'm assuming it's not fair. And I've said this before, but I'm writing my own invitation to the country club. I am forging my own membership pass to the elite. And looking at what they have planned electronically based on what they always do. Based on what they always do. Let's come over here. We'll go all the way down to a 1-minute chart in oil. I used to trade oil all the time. It was a very volatile market. I used to love watching it. Let's load the standard template without all the patterns. We'll get rid of all the drawing tools. And I'll put it on a 3-minute chart. There we go. Michael, how do you trade this? Ready? I'll show you. Step 1, establish authority and legitimacy. I just got off the phone with somebody who said, I don't know if your stuff is real or not. Well, I would say, listen, this was published 4 days ago. Oil futures, 3-minute chart, added 4 days ago. I then say 754, 754, 606, 606, 636, 636. The times that were published 4 days ago are populated on the chart, right? Okay. Now, on that same page, is a note. We will show how the signals can be traded by using one of two simple entry rules called signal with trend or puncture. This video provides an overview as well as accountability for these setups. I heard it in my head, Earl. Oh, by the way, I was bad about this. I'm looking at November 3rd, 4th, and 5th for you. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. If you want to peruse that, I put it on a fake calendar. I just didn't reach out to you yet. Yeah, if you could. So what is a signal with trend? Well, in the video, if we were to go back and review it together, and I won't belabor the point with that. I said we were going to use a 120 period exponential moving average. There is nothing magical about it other than I said beforehand that's what we're going to use. I said that my stop was going to be 1.5 average true range values away from the signal candle. So if oil has a 10 tick average true range at the time, because it changes throughout the session, my stops will be larger at some points and smaller at others. When the market speeds up, the stops will be bigger, but the potential reward will be bigger. When the market slows down, vice versa. Okay, 1.5 ATR. I said that we're going to look for two different types of setups. Signals in the direction of the trend. That is to say, if the moving average is falling, we're watching for blue signals or selling times. We'll just go ahead and label those while we're here. And then we'll look for something called a puncture. And a puncture is a very unique setup. And so far as I can tell, I only see two of them here, 1 and 1. How do we trade it? We enter at the close of the candle according to the rules that I published before today's webinar, and we exit at the opposite signal. 418 exists because historically the program has found incontrovertible evidence that over the last several thousand bars, that's what they do most of the time. Not 100%, but most of the time. Man, I'm so proud of you. I am very, very proud of you. And you did that. I know you point back to us, but you did that. That's all you. No one can say they had any part of that. Congratulations. Today was the day. I understand, you know what I mean. But today was one of your days that you wait for. I thought of that today. I actually told my wife that you probably did that. Got in and held on. So that's a 16 tick move. 512 to 521, you lose 5. 530 to 551 is a 12 tick move. 606 to 636 is a 6. 754 to 842 is a 17. Oil opens. This is the opening signal for oil. 9 o'clock, you exit when? Close of the 912 signal, 48. 936 comes and you give a lot of that back. You give back 21. 1106 into the lunchtime, you get 12 of that back. Those are signals with trend. The puncture is a different story. It says, hey, we're gonna watch to see if the buying signal fails. A failed buy signal in a downtrend equals a sell signal. It's a double negative. Failed buy equals sell. And so a puncture in the other video says, when I breach that dotted white line, my stop goes above the candle that drove through that line, and I exit at the next signal right there. So in that instance, we squeak out a little bit of potential profit. It's not a whole lot. It's only 4 ticks. And then this signal here, it breaches the line and then goes right back up above the high for a stop out. So it punctures and says womp womp. And we give 9 of those ticks back to the market makers. And so we have 16, 28, 36, 46, 53, 93, 101, 111, 113, call it 110, 100, go back to 90, 80, and then these two, 80 minus 5, 75. Let's call it 70 ticks, or with oil in one contract, about $700 per contract. And we'll put the word hypothetical. Hypothetical. Any questions about that? So I've done what no other trader system does. I told you what the rules of the system would be, and then I gave you the signals before the market ever opened. Do you understand that? I gave you the rules for the system to hold me accountable today, and then we came back together and measured what the rules would have done. Imagine if we did that in the NASDAQ this morning. If we go back to the chart that was originally on my screen, the 5-minute ES today, how would we have done in the direction of the trend? It wasn't just today, it was yesterday. I gave you 2 days worth of signals. The ones that I didn't give you were the in-between. So these were not included in the forecasts. I'm going to blank them out. And I just want you to look with me at what happened at the signals 3 days after we were waiting for them. About half of the signals were the exact high or low. 6 to 7 out of 10 of the signals went in the direction we were expecting them to go. And I have the signals in the future. They're here. They're not my signals. These are the trails left behind by the banks. You guys ever see a dirt trail? My partner and I are avid outdoorsmen. We love fishing, we love hunting. And this time of year in the fall is deer season. And however you feel, we are sustenance hunters. We actually hunt for meat that we feed our families with. We'll go out in the woods and we'll find these trails that look like this. We'll walk around sometime for days and we'll put these trails on a GPS tracker. And we're measuring where are they walking from in the morning when they're bedded down to where are they feeding. And when they go in the same place over and over and over again, they leave a trail. And if we wait for them along the most active parts of the trail, guess what? They show back up sometimes and we have an opportunity. That's what's happening here. That's what's happening here. All the signals to the right on this chart are trails in the dirt. These are electronic dirt trails forged from thousands of bars of data mining analysis. And we're waiting at 11 o'clock for someone to show up. We're waiting at 12 and 3 a.m. and 10 a.m. for someone to show up. Conceptually, it makes a lot of sense. Now, this isn't the only program that is available. A lot of you guys love TradingView. And I'm using Supercharts right now, and I wanted you to see that I can do the same thing in TradingView. This program is called Chronos. Chronos is giving me the signals in the future on the right-hand side. If we look at the NASDAQ on the 1-minute chart, you can see what we were waiting for: 236, 315, 318, 335, 343, 334, 401, 404. It's happening even after the market closed. We were trading that today in the live advance room. Remember that pattern 5 I trained you guys about a few minutes ago? We called it out today. It's in the recording. We called out the pattern 5 and the pattern 4 and this pattern 5. My drawings are still on the chart. And the customers bought from 1002 to 1010. They bought 1021 to 1026. They traded the puncture of the 1026 line. They bought the low at 942 where the pattern 4 kicked in. So this works in TradingView as well as NinjaTrader, which is important because apparently there's 4 million of you knuckleheads using TradingView to the 250,000, I think, or so of NinjaTrader users. I think that's the number. It might be more or less. I'm not sure. Can I use this on the other markets? A lot of you are crypto traders using this on here. Of course you can. Let's take Bitcoin out to a 10-minute chart. And we'll see there are the 10-minute signals. We'll scroll all the way forward to what's happening right now. 10-minute signals, 60-minute signals, long from 11 a.m. this morning until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Okay. We can also look at Forex. We can look at other markets like the Tesla 1-hour chart. And right here is the pattern 4 that I just taught you about in your book. If you scroll down on your histogram and compare that to what took place here, that happened at the open in Tesla on the 25th of August. Kind of neat. Any questions? Everybody here is really, really quiet. And I just want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody behind. So there is an option for everybody down at the TradingView level, and we have that available for you as well. So kind of circling around back to where we started, I asked you guys to kind of come on a journey with me, a relatively crazy one. And I said, hey, we have the proof. We've loaded these charts up before the markets opened Wednesday and Thursday. And I made the differentiation between a signal, a raw signal, and a setup. In our case, signals with trend and punctures. And then we came back and we're sort of answering this question: are markets random or are they not random? Do you have as good of a chance to make money in Las Vegas as anyone else? Or is there a sense that the house has the edge? Everyone who studied markets comes away with the impression that something else is going on. Ultimately, if trading were a religion, Mark Douglas would be in our Bible, the Gospel of Mark Douglas. And we want to see, is there an edge? Is there an edge associated with this program? Because that's really all we're looking for. Does this thing work more often than not? And we have an automated version of this program that's available that I would posit actually gives us some insight towards the effectiveness of these signals. In fact, if I build simple strategies around these times, I shouldn't have any type of positive expectancy if my theories are incorrect. And so if I add a simple strategy to these predictive times, and you'll bear with me here one moment, I can come back and say, hey, what if I let you drive Oh, it hasn't populated yet. Oh, I have to enable it, forgive me. I always forget to push the enable button. Contact. Now I can come back and say, listen, how did we do? How did we do? Well, this strategy is an 81% profitability with a profit factor of 1.94. And if I look at the analysis, Paul, by the way, these are the trades that it's taken since our first meeting. I noticed, remember last time it was down around 9,000 and now it's up around 11, 12. If I use the predictive time signals as the basis for an automated strategy, this chart should not move upwards to the right if everything I've been saying is wrong. It simply shouldn't work, and yet it does. It does. It does have an edge. There is a trail. There are people who have sat down and said, what can I say about these guys? What can I tell you to convince you that what I've seen is real? How can I convince you that what I heard in the webinar when I was sitting there was real? Remember, Venkat told him he didn't have enough money to buy the software, gave me 1 star. Please read Venkat's review. It's fascinating. It is an insightful view into the psychology of an underfunded trader. But when you get beyond that, why are all these people saying the same thing? It makes no sense if what I'm telling you isn't real. And I wanted to show it to you in a way that was relevant, transparent, and didn't involve me at all, because I'm kind of annoying. My personality admittedly gets me in trouble, gets me in the way. And I wanted to find a way to present this to you that removed me from the equation. I wanted to find a way that removed me and just let you see the raw nature of these signals and what banks are doing to you day after day after day. That's all. Okay. No more PowerPoints, no more weird gyrations. I just wanted you to know that it's available, it's out there, and we've been doing it for almost 2 decades. Thousands of users from day one to today. And I believe the answer to the question is it's about the future. Trading is estimating where prices will be 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day from now. And somebody convinced us early on that the best way to know where markets will be in the future was by using a lagging indicator that told you what's happening right now or what already happened. I fell for it too. I want to know what banks are going to do in the future. We are the only indicator that I'm aware of that tells us what will happen in the future. I'm going to build my fort on that hill and not die with a MACD arrow hanging out of my chest. Not die holding a spear broken off that says fair value gap on the tip of it. There is a new flavor, a new influencer, a younger and younger marketing machine infiltrating the noise every day. And I'm tired of it. I want you to see what I perceive to be the truth. Every day you wake up, no matter how much money you've spent on your computer, your T1 internet connection, your VPN server, your 58 monitors, 57 channels, and nothing on, you're never going to beat JP Morgan. These guys have data cables the size of your leg going from Chicago to New York to London to get their algo orders milliseconds ahead of yours. They pay billions of dollars in lobby and millions of dollars in fines, and no one ever goes to jail. And somewhere along the way, we convinced ourselves we'll play that game. I don't think we have a chance unless we play by their rules, and their rules aren't fair. This is what I want to do for you. I want to put you in the cockpit of this. I want to surround you with the customers that are available in our Discord. I want you to be in there with our customers who are sharing their results with each other, who are sharing their experiences with each other. Some of them have been here for 10 years or more. There's a community of users waiting to work with you and help you. You're not alone, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pro staffers now. Traders with experience from options to futures, scalping to swing trading that can come alongside you and say, what are you doing? How can we help? There's one customer in here who posted his P&L. He did $35,000 today. I want you to be in the best equipment that we can afford to put you in so you can compete up at the front of the pack. That's all I have to say about that. I believe it's about timing. I've dedicated my life to it. I've stared at the same blade of grass for nearly 20 years, and I think we're part of an echelon of people, maybe the only people in the world who are talking about this and providing it as a service. If it's something that you want to be a part of, please visit us at backtothefuturetrading.com, look at the offer, and sign up. It's that simple. All right. Any questions before we finish up here today? You've been a great audience, and I appreciate your participation. No? All right, let's wrap it up. This recording will be available on our YouTube channel tomorrow, Back to the Future Trading, and I'd encourage you to go back and check that out if you're missing it. Send it to a friend who needs to hear it. We want to get the word out as much as we can. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine upon your faces. May the valley rise up to meet you. May the mountains lay low before you. I wish you peace, prosperity, health, joy, mostly peace today. There's a lot of anxiety now. We're living in a very tumultuous time. And I believe that we survive those moments via connections, via relationships, by banding together, coming together, as opposed to being divided and being divisive. Cling to the people who love you and support you. We'd love to be part of your tribe. I'd love to introduce you to the other weirdos and nutcakes and time travelers in our community. They'll embrace you with open arms. There's a family waiting for you here. Maybe a good fit, maybe not. I think it's worth a try. Can't be any worse than the other garbage that's out there. But if we're not a good fit for you, I just wanted you to know I'm proud of you. You learned something today, which is hard. Learning is hard. There's not a lot of learning going on in the world. And you're one day in this more than you were yesterday, which means if there is a goal, if there is a point where it all comes together for you, you're 24 hours closer to it, and I'm proud of you. If it's with us, if it's with someone else, keep going. If this is your dream, if this is your goal, your desire, I believe you. I believe in you. I believe for you. All right, the Mr. Rogers of webinars. I know you can do it. Keep going. Keep pushing. I love you all. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks. Email is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, at backtothefuturetrading.com. And if there is a question that only I can answer, my personal number is 336-703-7667. Please text me first so I know you're not a Russian bride Ponzi scheme. You're going to love me, but you need me to send money to help your mom who's sick in the hospital, that kind of stuff. Let's get that out of the way first so I can verify you're a human, and then we'll go from there. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Remember, the market you trade is not random. You can know the times in advance, have a pretty good idea what's about to potentially happen. We've been doing it for almost 20 years, and I hope we can do it with you. Take care.